Nate Goyard.
Stay with me, little bitch, yeah, you know that I'm your man. You be capping like a snitch, no thoughts, won't stand. 2 hoes, 10 toes, new guap, coming bands, new whip, new chips, new kicks, Jackie Chan, how she pay. Bad bitch, throw back, I just hit another lick and she be counting in my rest. I be feeling hella rich, no Brian, 100 stack, about to make another hit, God bitch, in my life. Stay with me, little bitch, yeah, you know that I'm your man. You be capping like a snitch, no thoughts, won't stand. 2 hoes, 10 toes, new guap, coming bands, new whip, new chips, new kicks, Jackie Chan, how she pay. Bad bitch, throw back, I just hit another lick and she be counting in my rest. And I be feeling hella rich, no Brian, 100 stack, about to make another hit, God bitch, in my life. If she fucking with me, then you know I got it better. I be feeling like a Uzi, got my mind up on the check. Foot loose, getting groovy with your hoe, she love me better. I ain't talking ass cash, but that bitch she bad. And I posted out with twin glass and for them bitches, no face. All they want is squad, I burn bridges, I be getting to the bag. You still cleaning dirty dishes, doing mob send shots to your spot with no limits. Stay with me, little bitch, yeah, you know that I'm your man. You be capping like a snitch, no thoughts, won't stand. 2 hoes, 10 toes, new guap, cutting bands, new whip, new chips, new kicks, Jackie Chan, how she bad. Bad bitch, throw back, I just hit another lick and she be counting on my rest. And I be feeling hella rich, no Brian, 100 stack, about to make another hit, God bitch, on my life. Stay with me, little bitch, yeah, you know that I'm your man. You be capping like a snitch.
What's up, guys? It's Agent What If, and I'm back again with another video. Yes, sir, I'm back again, and I'm back and better. This is my second time doing a Hunter x Hunter What If. I'm hoping it gets a better reception than first time, so I'll just get right into it. We start off with Gon and Killua in the present day, right around the time where Gon and Killua split up, after Gon was healed. They both went their separate ways, parting for that time being. But then we immediately time skip forward. At this point, Gon is about in his early to mid 40s, and Gon is currently getting bombarded by this person in a suit, asking him a whole bunch of questions and continuously putting paperwork on his desk. Gon sighs, smacking his face in horror and in, well, disappointment. Yes, Gon has become the chairman of the Hunters Association, replacing Isaac Netero. Gon at this point is getting bombarded with paperwork from every single side, and he's dreading the day right now. We then skip over to one Killua Zoldyck, also in his early 40s. Killua, after disappearing with Gon, or after splitting apart from Gon, he went back to his family, but decided that he was going to take things a different path. But they still are assassins, the Zoldyck family. They just only assassinate people that are bad people, and they work for the Hunters Association. Also, Killua is the vice president of the Hunters Association, or like vice chairman. It's just that Killua doesn't really respond and come when Gon asks him to come around. They fixed their friendship a long time ago. Yeah, they work pretty closely. Gon is getting irritated. He slams his hand on the desk saying, it was so much simpler back then when it was just us four, just going around doing random things. Why, oh why did I have to grow up? We then time skip to right after when Gon left on his ways when he parted ways with Killua. After this, Gon met up with his father Jing, and his father Jing was being cagey about the fact of whether or not Gon could actually get his nin back after his vow. He didn't really say no, but he didn't really say yes. It was kind of weird, as Jin tends to be, right? They went on a traveled for a little while when Jing informed Gon that there might be someone who can help him, but there would be a price. Unlike the original time, Gon had actually learned from his rash mistakes, and this is why Gon's attitude has changed a lot. He's not such an airhead and battle combat like intellect. He's more of a smart, methodical type. You know, he's gotten a bit more, you know, a bit more worried, not really worried in a sense, but a bit more tactical, right? He comes into things calm and cool and collected, right? But he's still that same Gon. Gon analyzed the situation, saying, what is this price that I have to pay? And King then shrugged his shoulders, saying, that's not really my job to figure out. Gon didn't expect much more from his father, and he realized that his dad was not going to say anything else. He then asked him where the guy was, and Jing told him to follow him. They traveled on for about a week until they arrived at this empty place. Jing knocked on the door, and immediately the guy opened the door saying, "Jing?" And Jin said, "Yeah, it's me. I brought my son." And the man opens the door saying, "Okay, Jing, it's cool. So, what can I do for you?" And Jing tells Gon to, explain the situation. As Gon does, the man sighs saying, "That was very stupid of you, boy. You should know better than to do things such as that." Gon then really doesn't seem affected by this, and the boy is shocked. The man is kind of shocked at the sheer determination of Gon. He doesn't mind it though, and continues on, saying, "Okay, I can indeed fix your problem, per se. My inability allows me to manipulate the human body, but there will be some side effects." Gon asks what side effects, and he says, "I do not know for certain. I've never done this on anyone, but I know that there's always side effects. They're not bad side effects, they're just different side effects. So keep that in mind. Do you still want to go forward?" Gon nods pridefully, saying, "Of course." And Jean says, "Okay, let's do this." The man puts his hands on Gon's head, and immediately Gon starts to move a little bit, remembering what he did and how it worked in destroying Neferpito, and his anger starts to surge back up, remembering how Kite died, when the man instructs him to be still and to be calm, that if he gets angry, this won't work. Gon tries to calm himself down and achieves as little as he possibly can, calming himself enough. The man then says, "It's done." Gon says, "Wow, really? It's that simple?" "Yes, that's not the hard part. The hard part is you're going to have to reawaken your..." But before he could even say anything, Gon immediately moved his arms in a kind of X motion, letting them down, unleashing his aura. The man is absolutely taken aback by this, while Jean is just standing there saying, "Kid, maybe you shouldn't overdo it." Gon says, "It's really back. It's been gone for so long, I thought I'd never get it back. It's finally back." And he starts jumping for joy. Then Jean basically explains that how Gon is a very, very, very powerful talent, and like his talent is phenomenal, so good that it even surpasses almost everyone else's he's seen. And the man then sighs, saying, "Okay." And Gon sits back down, saying, "What about this price? This price is that you're going to have to do me a favor." We don't really get to know what this favor is. He just says that you're going to owe me one day. One day you're going to owe me, and you're just going to have to not ask any questions and do what I say no matter what it is. And Gon says, "But I can't do that if it's going to be something bad." And he says, "It probably won't be anything bad, but it's not like you really have a choice since we made an invow. Until you do the favor that I ask for you, your powers will disappear if you don't abide by the rules. But once you do it, the bond will be over, and thus your abilities will be yours and yours alone." Gon says, "Okay," and Jing walks out saying, "Okay, Gon, I helped you with your abilities. Now leave me alone." Gon asks Jing why, and Jing basically just says, "Because I have to train." And Gon says, "Training for what? Aren't you already..." And then that's when Jing throws a punch towards Gon, but Gon dodges it. And Jing says, "That's why. You're starting to approach my level, and I'm supposed to be the most powerful. With Netero gone, I'm the most powerful, at least that I know of. So, I'm going to keep training so that I can stay further ahead of you. One day, Gon, why don't you come back and challenge me? Not anytime soon, though. So for now, leave." Gon understands this and walks away. Then we skip to Killua Zodic, along with a very, very big time skip to when they were in their early 40s. The flashback is now over. Killua goes over to them and pretty much goes over to where Gon is and says, "Oh, hey, we completed that mission for you." And he collects the payment for one of his children, right? And that's when Gon says, "Killua, we haven't had a good spar in a while." And then Killua says, "I have things to do. I can't afford to fight you for a day or two on end." Gon then chuckles, saying, "I guess so. But you're just squirming your way out because you're scared." Killua then has a catty smile on his face, saying, "I mean, if you want to bet about it, we could definitely work something out." And then that's when Gon has a shiver down his spine saying, nah, I'm good. And Killua then loses interest saying, aw, I thought you had a little bit more spine than that. Gon then says, no, I do not. I don't have a spine. Killua and Gon chuckle, and Killua disappears with the payment. Then we have a massive time skip, a really big time skip, about 80 years into the future, right? So, really long time, 120. So there should be 120 right now if my math is correct. I could be retarded, which, it makes sense, logically speaking, that is. So anyway, they're 120. Leorio gets a call while he's on the seats of the Zodiac, and Leorio's really old, and he gets this call, and he wonders who it's from, because it's from a mysterious caller, and the man says, oh, Leorio, it's me, Kurapika. And Leorio then smiles, saying, oh, Kurapika, what brings you here? You haven't called me in ages. And that's when Kurapika says, I don't have time to keep talking. I need you to tell Gon and Killua that my time goes short. And then Leorio says, what? What do you mean your time goes short? You have so much potential. You'll probably live for... And then Kurapika then gets angry, saying, Leorio, stop talking. Just do what I tell you to do. I'm serious. It's from my abilities. They've drained my lifespan a lot. And although I've lived a really long time, it's still going to kill me soon. And then Leorio gets serious, saying, how long do you have? Kurapika then estimates, saying, maybe a year and a half. But I know it's going to happen soon. Then Kurapika hangs up the phone, telling him that he told him that to tell Gon and Killua. Then we time skip to after Kurapika's death. After Kurapika's death, it's been about 10 years since then, so they're all around 136, or they should be 136, right? And don't check my math. I'm just using rough estimates, right? So they're a bit older than Netero, right? Like a bit older than Netero at this point. Killua and Gon are just really old. At this point, they've become 3 times more powerful than Prime Netero, and it's just and some extra, right? Some change. And Leorio's become around Netero level, so he's powerful. He's just not as powerful as Gon and Killua. Sorry for the interruption. I'm back. But anyway, as I was saying, they're around really powerful. By this point, Gon and Killua have come to a very distinct, very problematic realization. Even at their old ages, out of their prime, they can't be beaten by anyone. They don't have the thrill of battle anymore. Gon and Killua are just so powerful that they literally cannot be beaten. Leorio can give them a challenge, but he can't beat them ultimately. It's depressing. They realized it a while after Kurapika's death that there's no one left on the continent that can kill them, that can give them an honorable death. And they found this very problematic since there was no one else left who could challenge them at their peak except each other. But they knew that they couldn't really do anything because they didn't want to die a slow, painful death of old age. They wanted to go out fighting. But they knew that if they both didn't die at the same time, the other one would just have to die a slow, painful death. Because at the stages they've become, like, their abilities are so powerful that they can literally do things like heal entire limbs and, like, can replace, like, organs and stuff like that. Like, their power has grown to that extent. And they realize this, and they come to a conclusion that no one else can beat them. So they decide that they're going to fight each other, and they're going to kill each other. Well, all of their children are a little bit upset about this and don't want this to happen, but they know they can't stop their fathers. So they just agree with it and hope to support them in their last moments. Immediately, they go to a secluded place. The same place that Netero fought Meruem. And they're just watching everything go down, all of the spectators. Gon and Killua are currently just sitting on the ground. Gon scratching his head because it itches, and Killua is currently just stretching a little bit, getting ready. That's when a random guy immediately says, "Let the match begin." And Gon and Killua will look at the man saying, in unison, this isn't an official match. It's just a fight. So don't think that your rules apply here." Then immediately the man scurries off in fear, and Gon cracks his knuckles saying, "You ready, Killua?" And Gon is then told from Killua that he is ready. Gon dashes off towards Killua and throws a punch at him. Killua ducks the punch, tries to go for an immediate kill, going straight for his neck with Killua's long claws. Gon grabs his hand and throws him over his shoulder, trying to break his arm, but Killua tosses him off of him quickly. Gon jumps back, using the momentum and lands softly, while Killua is already back on his feet. They begin clashing and throwing blows and dodging each other for a little while when they realize they're not going to get anywhere toying around. So Gon immediately is the first to come all the way out, and he dashes at Killua using his John Ken, or however you say it, Jajunken or whatever, and he tries to throw a punch at Killua, but Killua quickly dodges this using Godspeed and it starts electrifying Gon as harshly as possible, trying to deal the most damage. But Gon jumps out of this with brute force and starts healing himself because his enhancements has reached that level. Killua realizes that if he doesn't stop Gon entirely with one attack, Gon's just going to keep healing because they both have unreasonably large quantities of Nin, but Gon's is bigger. And since he's a natural enhancer, he can heal his body more effectively than Killua can. So Killua knows that he has to end this quickly. Gon starts rushing at Killua and they start throwing punches. When Killua tries to get the upper hand, dashing behind Gon ducks to the ground, dodging his punches and trips him up. He begins to charge at John Ken when immediately Killua is replaced with a little bit of electricity, and it shocks Gon as he tries to punch through it. Killua then uses a lightning strike on Gon, but Gon uses an X hand motion to block it, although his skin's a bit burned. Gon begins to get more and more serious, losing his expression on his face and going into that kind of rage mode that he did with Pito, except he wasn't. It's a controlled rage now. Killua realizes that he's going to have to be on his guard because if he's not, he'll get. But before he could finish, Gon was already behind him, planning to snap his neck. Killua immediately jumped up, hitting him down onto both of his hands and kicking upwards, kicking Gon in the chin, sending him flying. He ran over trying to finish Gon when Gon caught his hand and broke his arm. But Killua got a good punch in, hitting him right in the side, breaking a few of his bones. And most of his ribs on that side. Gon begins to heal as Killua does, but they continue to fight. The fight gets more and more brutal until they're no longer willing to play around and are going to end it with one final attack. Killua realized a long time ago that the ability he uses with his palms to shock people isn't as effective as using it kind of like a blade. Yes, a lightning blade. I am doing that, so, yes. Gon uses his John Ken but condenses it, trying to pretty much use it as an orb on his knuckle that he punches the person with, and it pretty much just hits them, and the initial impact just sends them flying, and it just keeps on hitting them over and over again while it's already made contact. It's a pretty nice move. Gon and Killua both run at each other with these attacks, and everyone realizes that this is the final blow. When they both land, there's a loud boom. Gon gets Killua's arm shot right through his chest. He starts to cough up blood, but Killua gets hit with the John Ken orb, and it sends him spiraling so hard that his arm is actually ripped out of socket and left in Gon's chest as he continues to spiral all the way down, almost a mile away, and then a final explosion. Killua dodged the final explosion, just barely making it out with Godspeed, but Gon is to his knees coughing up blood as Killua is as well. A majority of the bones are broken in Killua's body to the point where he can't move, and Killua thinks to himself, even now, he's still more powerful than me. He's always been that way. And Gon says, I let myself get hit. I was cocky. He's always been more methodical than me. They then rush at each other smiling when they punch each other one last time as they both fall to their knees. They scramble to get back to a reasonable position on the ground with their legs crossed. Gon has a big smile on his face, even though there's some blood dripping from his mouth. And Killua, even though most of his body is mangled, also has a catty smile on his face. They both realize that they've done all they can and they're both going to die in peace, but they died to each other. It was okay. It was okay. And Killua asked Gon if Gon was scared. And Gon said, no, I've been prepared to die since the moment I set out to look for my father. It was always do or die for me. Gon asked the question to Killua, and Killua says, actually, I am a bit afraid. And Killua then looks down in shame. Gon pats Killua on the shoulder saying, don't worry, it's fine. We're best friends, so I'll go with you. You don't have to be alone. Killua knows that this isn't true, but he finds comfort in the words as they slowly both begin to fall forward, dying. But before anything could happen, both of their consciousnesses fade to black, but then they start moving like they're looking somewhere. And it's just zooming forward, vastly forward. And then they just see a light at an end of the tunnel. And the two individual souls recognize each other, but before they could speak, something happens, almost like a glitch. And they both become one. And there's no longer two, but one. And the light at the end of the tunnel keeps getting closer and closer until we come back to young Izuku being born. The fusion of Killua and Gon, which I'll just call Deku for simplicity, and because I don't have a fusion name, come up with a fusion name if you want him to be called that. His name will be Deku, but we'll call him that fusion word instead. Anyway, so they then are handed their baby boy who has green eyes, well, not green eyes, green hair, and kind of a, not really orange or yellow, but more of a tan type eye color. They hug the baby boy as Inko is greeted by Hisashi, and they begin to go through. The combination of Gon and Killua begins to think, what's going on? As you can hear an echo in his voice. Kind of like how in like Dragon Ball Z, the fusions have an echo to their voice, or like two voices overlapping. So I don't know how to make that sound effect, but pretty much that. And they realize, wait, have I been reincarnated or something? I didn't know this could happen. I mean, but there has been stranger things happen. I wonder where I am. If you guys wonder where he is and how the story is going to play out from here, and how the fusion of Gon and Killua is going to change the story, find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. I'm just playing. But real talk, find out next time. If you guys want to see a part 2 of this, I'll make sure to make a part 2. So don't worry about that. Just know that I will keep making a part 2 as long as you guys want this. I really, truly hope that you guys want this, because I think this is interesting. And I think you guys will see it that way too. But I'm going to stop all my blathering and just end the video. Peace.